Hello, everybody. We are officially live right now from New York City, hanging out with me and, oh, where is he? My best friend Fred. And today we are going to be talking about sleep issues, sleep regression, uh, all things that have to do with sleep. So, if you don't know me by now, hi, welcome. I am Natalie Diaz. I am the founder of Twiniversity, and yeah, I don't know. I'm just Nat, to be honest. You'll learn over time that really it's just me. Today we are going. Hey, Denise is here. Yay! Kimmy's here. Julie's here. I always remember Magic Garden. Anybody remember Magic Garden? Thumbs up if you know what Magic Garden is, because it wasn't exactly before my time, but it was really more my sister's time. And it was this show with these two chicks that would play guitar, and they would be like, and I see Murray, and I see Angie, and whatever. So yeah, I remember that whenever I'm on here, hi Carrie, and Jory, and Jennifer, and Dana. This is fantastic. So here's what's going to happen today. So you know the drill. If you see me looking off to this section, the reason, hey Nancy, what's up? The reason why I'm looking over to this section is because I have my computer over here, and it is where I have my live feed available. So we do have a lot to talk about today, and we're going to talk about some sleep stuff. I do have like kind of a set idea of what I want to do, but of course it is led directly by you guys. So if you have questions, you need to let me know. I am super stoked to once again have our wonderful partners at Love to Dream allow me to have this time with you guys. Thank you. I feel very cute today. I bought this new brush, and now when I dry my hair, it looks much better. Plus, you ever go to one of those, like you're like walking through a mall or something, and the woman's like, let me sit down and do your makeup. I was like, yeah, you could do my makeup. And then I learned little things, which maybe we'll have to have a live feed just about how I do my makeup, because truthfully, I do this in like 4 minutes. It's super simple. So that has nothing to do with Love to Dream, but it does have to do with Fred that's in my lap. Fred, I'm sorry I'm yelling in your ear. Fred, say hi to everybody. Oh, Fred is super tiny, and Fred is wearing his Love to Dream swaddler. This is the newborn size, and as you can see, the difference of this is that basically, instead of your kids being swaddled this way, which is how a traditional swaddle blanket would be, your babies are swaddled. Paws up, baby, paws up. That is how the swaddle goes. And we're going to be talking more throughout the day about this particular swaddle and our friends at Love to Dream and all the good stuff that they have been doing. So today we are talking about sleep, and of course, we are partnered with Love to Dream for this because it just makes the most sense. But if you are having sleep issues, I want to see some thumbs up. And I want to hear a hell yeah or whatever when you are having sleep issues. And just like all the other live feeds that we did, I would love to know how old your babies are, because then it gives us an idea of how to direct this conversation. So, are you expecting? Say, I'm expecting newborns, say newborns, 6 months plus, even if they're 4 months, 5 months, wherever. Just let us know how old your babies are. So while we're having this discussion, if there is some way, 18 months, if there is some way that we could get it covered in more age ranges, then wow, 15 weeks. I salute you, 15 weeks. This is really great. So, yeah, so let us know how old your babies are, and we'll try to get as many questions as possible. Of course, we have some prizes to give away. I love giving away prizes. People that know me in real life as well as professionally and personally and whatever know that I love giving away prizes. Hint, I'm going to be seeing Julie and Lauren next week, and there may be some prizes in their future just because we're together. And anytime when the Twiniversity Mom Squad is together, it is definitely cause for a celebration. I also want to remind you guys that next week we are going to Viva Las Vegas. Viva, viva Las Vegas! So we will be in Las Vegas, and we will be looking at all the latest and greatest baby stuff that the world has to offer. We will be stopping by with our friends at Love to Dream, and we will be talking about any new products, ideas, colors, fabrics, etc., that they have. So we make sure that you are following us next week. And I will tell you, we do have some scheduled live chats, right? So we have quite a few actually scheduled. Some are just by me, some are with me and Baby Gizmo, and Julie will point you over to Baby Gizmo's Facebook page, because you're going to want to follow anything that she's doing too, because you never know when I'll pop by. But if there's anything in the show that I really think you guys need to see, you have to make sure that you stay tuned to our Facebook page as well as our Instagram page. I will be posting stuff on Instagram, videos and pictures and really everything. And also, if you want to follow the Mom Squad silly journey, you could follow me personally over at Nat's Real World. Julie will send you a link to that. That's on Instagram. That's definitely not going to be as much professional stuff, but you guys are all welcome to personally follow me and watch the insanity as it unfolds. So let's start getting to some questions, and I do have a lot to say. There's one more thing that I want to say to you guys, and I want to remind you that my word is not law. All right, we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but sleep is not a one-size-fits-all issue, and there's actually no issue that is a one-size-fits-all, whether it comes to your pregnancy, whether it comes to feeding, whether it comes to sleeping. There is no particular right or wrong way to do this. I will give you suggestions on how to get things done, but never, never, never do I want you to feel like you're doing something wrong or that you need to make changes if it's working, because of the things that I say. It's important for me that you know that, because I never want to feel responsible. Not that I don't want to, I'm happy with being responsible, but I never want to be the cause for any distress that happens on your end. So today we'll be rolling out with a lot of different ideas, and Julie is already shooting me a bunch of questions, and let us jump right in, shall we? So David says, I have twins that are just past the 2.5-year mark. Recently, they started refusing naps. Few days later, they begin refusing to go to bed at night. They are staying awake 12 plus hours at a time, and when they finally do fall asleep, they're constantly waking during the night and come to our bed. Woo! David, I feel for you, my love. There are a lot of things that we could do here, especially because the kiddies are bigger. So a few tips that I'm going to give you straight out of the gate. And this is also now for a lot, like, look, Alicia, you have 2.5-year-old twins, right? So this is going to apply for you as well. For anybody who doesn't have twins that are this age, I really warn you to pay attention to all of this, because you will eventually get there. So for David, there's a few things that I would like to tell you. Number one, how much quiet time are they getting? At this age, at 2.5, they're probably jumping, off the walls, and they might be on their little iPods or iPads a lot. They might be watching a lot of cartoons. So I'm really curious to know how much downtime or quiet time that the twins are getting, and especially how much time are they getting before bed. A lot of people underestimate the importance of quiet time, and they think like, oh, the kids could, watch a nightly cartoon and then have that part of their routine, and then they know to go to bed. But things like having your iPad or having something close to your face, even a Kindle, you have to remember that all produces light directly at you, and the light produces melatonin, or prevents you from producing melatonin, and it kind of prevents you from falling asleep. So the number one thing I'm going to do is recommend that everybody has downtime before they go to bed. Now, this isn't just for David. This is really for everybody. All right. Now, Denise, I'm looking your puppies are pretty big too now. So anybody, and this goes for toddlers through school age, before anybody goes to bed, everybody needs some downtime. Read a book, listen to some music, play with a quiet toy, but sanction it quiet time, and just have it be a peaceful bliss in your house. Is it going to happen overnight? No. This is something that's going to have to be kind of trained, okay? So, yes, Julie's telling you to make sure that you keep asking questions, okay? So keep asking questions, and they're coming up fast and furious, and I'm doing my best. I'm promising you I'll get to anything. But how many of you, show of hands, show of little thumbs, how many of you are getting opportunities to have quiet time before you go to bed? Does anybody find that it's important for themselves to take some time before they lay down for the night to really go and just have some quiet time, whether it is while you're in bed, right before bed, but it's an important thing. So that's number one, okay? I find that quiet time is very, very important. I'm a big fan of reading before bed and reading an actual book. Right now I am reading We Are Water by Wally Lamb. If anybody wants to join a Nat's book club, we could always start that, but I've been reading this book forever because basically I only read a few pages before I go to sleep and then I pass out. So yeah, so that's the first thing. The second thing that I would do is I would make sure that you offer them some kind of reward for making it through the night. What is the reward? Perhaps the one that stays in bed the longest gets to choose the story the next night or gets to choose some kind of important activity. But that's another thing that I would do is really apply positive reinforcement. Another thing that I would do for kids of that age is I would make excuses. I would go into the room and say, okay, everybody, you have to lie down just until I get this hairbrush from the bathroom. And then you run, and then you come back, and you set little increments of time and allow them to be in their bed. And it's kind of like forced relaxing downtime. But that's another thing. And then finally, if they're really not behaving and they're really not staying in their bed and they're not sleeping, you might want to set up shop inside of their room. And then you literally sit there with a book, with a magazine, and just read. I also want to let you know if anybody's having extensive sleep issues, you're definitely going to want to check out Kim West's book. So this is the Sleep Ladies Good Night and Sleep Tight book. It's one of our favorite books here at Twiniversity, and it not only covers infant sleep, but it covers sleep well through school age. And truthfully, there's a ton of tips that it gives you. Trying to reconnect. I'm back, guys. I don't know why it's trying to reconnect. But if you haven't, Jewel, could you link them to this book on Amazon? I really do think that in your arsenal of books, this should be one that's there. And of course, you guys know that this little book that was written by this really wacky chick, there's a lot of sleep tips in here too. And you could always download this on a Kindle. And it's really not that expensive on Kindle, but then you have it handy on your phone instead of having to look for the book. So that's another thing that I want to let you know about. All right, so we do have to get to the next question. All right, yikes. The other thing is I have to mention that we have some giveaways. Julie's going to link you to the giveaways. We have a huge giveaway from our friends at Love to Dream. Julie's going to post the link to you, and also make sure that you enter to win. It is an extraordinary prize pack. Thumbs up if you saw. Thumbs up if you've already entered. I'm always curious to know who already has entered. And the next thing that I would like to do is I would actually like to give away a little Amazon gift card, whether it's to buy Kim's book or my book. Oh, sorry. The giveaway is going to be up on Friday. Julie's going to tell us. Oh, Jewel, I'm sorry. Julie's yelling at me. Don't yell at me, Jewel. It's funny because it seems crazy that you're like, how is Julie yelling at me? You guys hear nothing. She's yelling at me online in giant caps with exclamation points. Sorry, Jewel. It was Fred's fault. Fred was making me do it. I'm sorry, Julie. All right, so we have a big giveaway coming up on Friday. We're going to send you some more information. They're going to link you to that. Julie will take care of all of that on that end. But I do want to give away an Amazon gift card. I'm personally totally addicted to Amazon. So how do you win this? Yeah, I know, Fred. But no, I only do positive reinforcement. Fred, next time you should try harder. Or something, all right? That's what we're going to do. So if you would like to win an Amazon gift card, all you have to do is share this live feed. And then for the people that share it, we will know that you wanted to enter to win our gift card. So my recommendation would be to buy some Love to Dream swaddlers, of course. And my other recommendation is to definitely pick up this book or this book over on Amazon. Are they held up correctly? Yes. So there you go. So if you would like to win an Amazon gift card, I would love to see some thumbs up. I would love to see I want to win, and I would also really love to make sure that you're sharing. We originally, when we started doing these live feeds, would basically just do if you said you wanted to win, that was great. However, Yes, and it has to be shared publicly. However, it was just getting lost in the shuffle. So this way, when this feed is over, we'll see all the little shares that there were, and we'll be able to pick it from there. So if you would like to win an Amazon gift card, please do that. Denise, thank you for sharing. Sharing is caring, guys. But yeah, I want to win too. Now, let's get to our next question. OMG. Okay, Jewel. I'm doing good, Jewel. Now, Rika asked, we sleep trained our girls at 5.5 months. Thanks for the live chat on that. My pleasure, no problem. And they were sleeping pretty well for the most part, but they do in separate rooms. Do you recommend putting them together in the same room now that they have trained, or will that mess anything up? Yes, this is a very easy question. A very easy question. The question that answer is yes. They should be sleeping in the same room as much as possible. I always recommend that your twinnies be together. Even if you have a 26-bedroom house, I think that your twinnies should be sleeping in the same room. You know, twins are often comforted by the companionship of their sibling, right? Hold on, I gotta fix Fred's. Excuse me, Fred. I don't mean to hold you by the face, but it was bothering me how much it was bunched up by him, but that's my fault. Okay. All right, Fred, are you comfy now? Good. Good, Fred. I'm glad. So your twins should definitely be sleeping in the same room, but when you do put them in the same room, please, please, please be very careful of the placement of the cribs. Very often people think like, oh, I'll butt the cribs right up to each other, but if you've been a longtime member of Twiniversity, you'll know that we have had quite a significant problem with a mom who had one twin that attempted to crawl over the crib into their other crib, and they did get stuck, and it could have been a very catastrophic issue. And thank God, humbly, thank God that it did not, and that everybody is safe and sound. So make sure that you have at least 3 feet of space between the kids' cribs. And if anything, you could co-bed them. They could co-sleep in the same crib. It is a recommendation that I always have. Twins regulate their little heartbeat and body temperature. I'm sure you guys have heard me say that before, but they do. They want to be together. They feel 2 parts of a whole, and often when they're together, they are happier, they are healthier, and you should have them together as much as possible. So I hope that answered your question. Okay, so make sure you share publicly. Now look, don't forget to share publicly. I know that was probably old from Julie. The next thing that I wanted to answer is Margaret's question. She has 18-month-old twins. They nap they nap throughout the day between 1 and 2 hours. I'm guessing that's their nap. But my daughter sleeps less during her nap, between 20 minutes to 1 hour, but sleeps at night. My son sleeps well at naps, but wakes up 2 to 3 times a night. Margaret, isn't that the joy of having twins? It's almost like having 2 separate humans that just popped out of your body on the same day. And the reason why that is because they are always 2 humans, and just like you and your spouse may have different sleep schedules, your twinnies may have different sleep schedules too. So how do we deal with twins that are on kind of completely different sleep schedules? It's not really a sleep schedule because you're doing everything on the same time, but how do we get them to kind of be on the same page? So the first thing that I'm going to tell you is that if they are napping, like a 20-minute nap is too short. That's the first thing that I'm going to say. How many naps are they taking? Daytime between 1 and 2 hours. Margaret, you didn't tell me. I don't think you told me how many naps that they're taking. Maybe you want to cut one of their naps back. They're 18 months old, so at 18 months old, they should be taking about 1 nap. Between 9 and 12, they should be taking 2 naps, but by 18 months, they should be taking 1 nap. I'm saying that, and I'm suspecting that they're sleeping more because I think you're using naps plural during nap time. All right, well, if they are doing 2 naps, I would recommend that you move slowly to 1 nap time. At that age, they should totally be able to handle 1 nap, and I'd be curious to know how long they slept during that nap. Jewel, if you could, Margaret, if you are still with us, I'd love to know if it is 1 nap or 2, so if you let me know, I would love that. Now, if it is 1 nap and they are having issues, and one is sleeping better during the day and one is sleeping better during the night, for the one that's sleeping 20 minutes, instead of, the 2 hours or whatever you'd like to have her sleeping. She says 1 nap. Okay, it is 1 nap. That's all I needed to know. Thanks, Jewel. Thanks, Margaret. So what you could do is, what time are they napping? What time are they going in? You may want to put them in a little bit earlier. For the one that's napping 20 minutes, she could be overtired. That is a big issue. That's not only for Margaret's issue, but it's actually an issue across the board. You want to make sure that your twinnies are sleeping, are getting to bed early enough, because if you put them in their cribs and they are overtired, it is going to be excessively hard for them to fall asleep. So what I would recommend that you do, Margaret, is perhaps try to put them in a little bit earlier, which seems counterintuitive because you're like, well, they're not sleeping. Why if I put them in earlier if they're going to sleep? Try it. It is definitely worth a try. Now, if they are not sleeping for an excessive amount of time and you're content with the amount that they're sleeping at night, you may want to just embrace it and take advantage of the one that is not sleeping that much. Another thing that you want to do is, maybe there's a reason why she's not sleeping. You have to make sure that the stage is set when it comes to sleeping. And there are 3 ideal sleep conditions, okay? Well, 4 ideal sleep conditions, right? Because Fred, of course, prefers to be swaddled. So the ideal sleep conditions are a dark room. So Margaret, is the room dark enough that they know that it is time to sleep, right? So darkness equals sleep. The second thing, is it cool enough? Is she getting sweaty? Is she overheated? A room should be pretty much between 65 and 70 degrees for all children, preferably for us too. And the other thing is are you using white noise as a sleep mechanism? People often think like, you know what? We don't need white noise. Shh, they're quiet. The babies are sleeping. But you know what? The babies don't need that. The babies actually do need some white noise to help their little brains settle down. White noise does not necessarily have to be a white noise machine. If you want to use a white noise machine, you should definitely check out the ones from Cloud B, because they start out at white noise machine and then turn into a really comforting lovey down the line. They have their sleep sheep and all that good stuff. The second thing that you could do is that if it's hot in their room, you might want to put the fan on or an air conditioning. And the third thing is, in the wintertime, often you have a humidifier. So those are also white noise. So do you have white noise in their room? And I'm curious to know, if you gave them white noise, what would happen? The other thing, just like I was telling David earlier, are you giving them a chance to settle down before their nap time? They may be too riled up, so perhaps you could institute that. All right, Margaret, I gotta answer some other questions. I hope, oh good, you're still there. I'm hoping that helps. And Margaret, next time we do a chat, I would love to know if those tips did help and which ones you applied. And don't forget, guys, I am here whenever you have a question. You could just send it to our Facebook page. Laura is the one who is the guard dog of our little Facebook page. She's great. She keeps an eye and makes sure that everybody is safe and happy and content. But she is the one that is getting all of your questions. And if you have a particular question for the Mom Squad or for me, you could always send it to our Facebook page, or of course you could always send it to me at Natalie@Twiniversity.com. Julie's going to give you that again, Jewel, so could you please just give them my email address on the side, and you guys are more than welcome to send me questions whenever you have them. That's kind of what I do, guys, right? So I do want to go back and talk about Love to Dream for just 1 second. And I want to let you know that Love to Dream is a particular swaddler, and it's one of the only ones, it is the only one on the market that allows your babies to be swaddled with their little paws up. So this is what it looks like in the package. This actually is my favorite color. Could you guys see that? It's this gray color. So if you're expecting, I do recommend that you go, if you don't know what you're having, you definitely want something that's a little bit more gender neutral. But this is a very, very, very revolutionary design. And it does come in a variety of sizes. So it does have the newborn, and it goes all the way up to 24 pounds. But if you still require some kind of sleep sack, or if your kids are comforted by having a sleep sack, they have them well through the toddler years. So that's another thing that I wanted to let you know. So the other fascinating thing about this is that for those middle of the night diaper changes, there are zippers. It is a twin zipper. There's a zipper at the bottom, or a zipper. There's a zipper at the bottom, and there's a zipper at the top. So if you're changing their clothes, that's, easy access. And if you're just changing their diaper, it has that zipper at the bottom, okay? Now, when you're looking for a swaddle blanket or really any clothes, please make sure that it has this little catch that's here. You see that it's got a little zipper cover here so that when you do zip it up all the way, you're not catching your little baby's neck. I can't be the only one who's ever had a winter time. Hey, Betty Lou. Aw, Betty's coming to say hi to Fred. You're saying hi to Fred? I can't be the only one that in the wintertime I have zipped my jacket up and caught the little piece of my little dangly neck. Ah, it hurts. Betty, well, I do love you. I'll keep petting you, Betty Lou. Okay, let's go to our next question. All right, Betty? Betty likes that idea. Hey, guys, what if we give away another prize? If you would like to win a copy of What to Do When You Are Having To from me personally, I will send this to you, and you could also ask me a question, and I will even write the answer in there to you guys. If you would like to win a copy of this book, I would like you to just say, I want a copy of Nat's book. Write it in the comments and then share this feed, and that way we will know to go look for your comment of we want to win the book. So this is just our What to Do When You're Having To. If you would like to win, all you have to do is say, I want to win Nat's book, and I will personally pick a winner, and I will send you this copy that is in my hand here. Look, I'll even make Betty sign it. Betty, good. Betty signed it with her little nose, so I will as well. All right, so good. Thanks, Mel. So I see Melissa Sparks, who I'm just going to call Mel from now on. So if you would like to win a copy, please just say that you want that, and I will, I'm so excited. I love that. I love to give away copies of my book. Also, I have a favor to ask of you guys. If you have read my book, would you please, please, please go over to Amazon and give the book a review? Even if you don't think it's 5 stars, I'm fine with it. I know that I can't be everything to everybody. But if you liked the book and you found it helpful, can you please go over to Amazon and review the book for us? That would be... Julie tells me that I'm not allowed to go read my reviews, but maybe Fred will go and read them. Fred? Julie, it wasn't me. I swear it was Fred. All right, so let's get to another question. Becky asks, if one twin keeps waking early, especially for naps, do you wake the other twin to kind of keep them on the schedule? So now, Becky, we were just talking about Melissa's question, or Margaret's question, sorry, and we were talking about that question of having one early riser and one not. When it comes to naps, I don't recommend that you wake the other one up unless they are kind of exceeding their nap time. So if you put them in and they're supposed to have a 2-hour nap and one twin wakes up an hour and a half through, if the other one is still sleeping, I would let the other one sleep. There's, just like I said before, you know, your kids are going to have different sleep needs. And still to this day, my kids have different sleep needs. I noticed it when they were infants. And seriously, it's kind of still extended to what it is now. So I have a little bit of a night owl, and I definitely have one that's an early bird. It was challenging in the beginning, but now I think that it's great because in the mornings you'll see, like if you have an early bird, you'll just get to spend a little bit more time with that kid. And then for the night owl, you'll get to spend a little bit more time with them. But I will tell you that the standards that you set for sleep early on, even from infancy, if you set good sleep habits for them, they will go throughout their entire life. And people really underestimate the importance of sleep, and they're more worried about, you know, what preschool am I going to send them to, and is this, you know, chicken organic? And I'm not saying that those things aren't important, but I am saying that you should never underestimate the importance of teaching good sleep habits. All right, so if you're like, oh, I don't know if we should sleep train, or I don't know about this, and, you know, this seems weird, and whatever, I'm telling you, if your gut is telling you to just let them cry for a little bit, do let them cry for a little bit. Help them learn that they could soothe themselves to sleep, and everybody will be the winners at the end of the day with that. All right, so let's get to another question. Anna, yay, Anna. Anna said, can they co-sleep at 5 months? I'm worried that they'll roll on or too close to each other and they won't be able to breathe. I have good news for you, Anna. Yes, you totally still can co-sleep at 5 months. They are still kind of little, and even if they are going to roll over, they will just probably roll near each other. And I'm actually curious to know the families that are on here today. For you that have co-bedded your twinnies, how many of you have had any issues with them being co-bedded for a lengthy period of time? We did a study. A study, is that what you could call it? We took a poll a few years ago, and we found that the average Twiniversity family co-beds their twins for 10 weeks. However, that was just the average. There were some families that basically co-bed their twinnies well throughout their toddlerhood. There's many that go from cribs together into toddler beds next to each other into twin beds next to each other. It really depends on your comfort level. But should you be worried that they are going to hurt each other? If you've seen that they're very aggressive towards each other or something, or scratching each other, and something that can't necessarily be controlled, you first of all do want to make sure that their little nails are trimmed all of the time. There's this great nail file from Zoli. If Julie can't find the one that I'm talking about, we did a video on it. I was just totally fascinated by this little nail trimmer from Zoli. But that's something that you want to make sure always when you are co-bedding your kids, that their nails are of an appropriate length so that they don't scratch each other by accident. But we have never really had any issues with kind of like twin on twin crime. Very often the kids are very happy to be next to each other and will sleep better. So if they are sleeping better, my question to you would be, why do you want to separate them so quickly? Perhaps you could just change their positions. So if they were side by side, maybe you could put them feet to feet or head to head and just change the position that they are in the crib. If you think that they're getting too big and that they can't sleep in that same crib, then you may want to consider moving them into their own crib. If they're in a mini crib together, maybe moving them into a standard size crib. If they're in a pack and play together, maybe moving them into the standard size crib. But I would try to keep them together for as long as you are comfortable. Okay? All right. Axel said, how old should boy-girl twins be before you put them into separate rooms? This is a very personal question because some people believe that, oh, Jewel's so fast today. Jewel, you're winning that. I love you. So there are some people that are like, we're going to just make 2 separate nurseries. We want to have a girl nursery. We want to have a boy nursery. As I've said, I personally wouldn't recommend that. I would keep them together. And when do you separate them? I'm going to tell you the truth. You separate them when they ask to be separated. They may want to stay together. So Axel, how old are your kitties? Let me know if you are still on now. I'm curious to know how old your kids are. Our kids were 5. How old were our kids, babe, when we separated them? 6? 7? He doesn't remember. I know that we put them into bunk beds when they were 5, and that way they felt like they had their own room because we kind of sectioned off the bunk beds. So the little dude was on the top and the little chick was at the bottom, and she often would put a blanket up, almost like you would if you were on a train and had a little cubby. So I think she felt that she had her own room and she had her little private space. Oh, Axel, they're 8 months. You got plenty of time. So I would say at least 5 years, you could let them stay in that same room. It really becomes an issue once they discover that they have different anatomy. And then they're like, you know what? I don't want to see his peanuts all over the place. Like, yeah, let them tell you when they want to be separated and when they need a little bit more privacy. But I don't think that there's a particular age that they should ever be separated. And I'm going to tell you, as a New York City family, and some of my friends have only lived in 2-bedroom apartments, so the parents would have 1 bedroom and the kids would have others. There's plenty of people that I know that would be in a room with their siblings, gender not specific, so boys and girls all in the same room until they went to college. That's just what has to happen. If that's what's the issue in your home, that you have a limited space and you're really worried about it, honestly, it's keeping, a tight family. That's going to be the priority. But if you have 26,000 bedrooms, then you may want to let them decide when to split up. So I hope that answered your question. All right, Vanessa said, my ID boys are 14 months old and starting to refuse naps during the day. They're in the same room, same cribs, but sometimes they take naps, 1 or no naps. Do I let them skip naps? Vanessa, I would not let them skip naps. I would really encourage them to take a nap because they do need to sleep. They need an extra little bit of sleep. And I'm also curious if they're really 14 months or if they're 14 months adjusted. That's another topic that everybody needs to know about. You need to remember that because the good amount of twins were born premature, that you have to take into consideration their adjusted age. Guys, I'm curious. For you guys out there that have had premature babies, what week were your twins born at? So if you could just let me know, and this is really just personally, I'm always curious to know, because a lot of people think that after the first year that prematurity doesn't count, but I'm going to tell you the truth, it actually goes for quite some time, especially when it comes to pulmonary issues. I have, my twins are premature. They were born at 34 weeks on the day, and we still have pulmonary issues that our doctor suspects that are basically just because they were premature and they didn't finish cooking. So see, look, we have a lot of premature babies. Stacy 32, Melissa 30, Jennifer 34. So if you are expecting and your doctor's like, you may deliver early, you could look on the side here and you could see that it is pretty common for twins to be delivered early. Ooh, Pooja went 37 weeks. Good for you. Colleen 33. It's fantastic. Yeah, I love to see exactly when our babies were born. Anybody over 40 weeks? Fred wants to know. Fred was born at 44 weeks. He was the largest baby in the nursery. Right, Fred? You were perfect. He was born with his very perfect head. He looks just like his father. He looks just like you, babe. The funny thing is he does look just like you. He does look just like you. You look just like your dad. All right, my husband's sitting here. He's my my wonderful. You're my audience of the day.
Sure.
Is that what it is? All right, babe. Thanks. It used to bother me when you were there. Now you're just there. It's comforting and supportive, right? It's important to have a spouse that believes in your insanity when you're talking to dolls live to hundreds of people online. It's good. I love it. All right, so let's get to some more questions. Unless Julie's telling me that we have to give away a prize. Jewel, are we giving away a prize? Prize time, prize time, prize time. If you would like to win a seat in our online class, Twiniversity has online classes. The first class is for expecting families, but the second class is for new families. So if your babies are little and you would like to win, I love that Julie's now texting me prize time, prize time, prize time. If you would like to win a seat in our online class, all you have to do is you have to say, I want to be in class, or I have a lot of class. Do we have to say that? We are very classy people. If you would like to join us, just say, I want to join you for class. And then Julie will go and we will pick a winner for our next month's online class. And of course, if the date doesn't work for you next month, you're always welcome to join us at any online class that we have. We do have 2 online classes a month. Julie could link you to online classes. And of course, if you're in Chicago, you get to go play with Jewel in the Windy City. But if you're here in the city that never sleeps, Fred never sleeps, you could have a class with me here in Lower Manhattan. So you are always more than welcome to join us. Okay, so we have more questions. And the next question is, any tips for transitioning the babies to their cribs? Emily's asking, our twins are almost 5 months. Is this the same Emily, Jewel? Our twins are almost 5 months, and we haven't had them co-sleep. Is it recommended that they co-sleep even if they're sleeping through the night the majority of the time? Emily, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the first thing. If everybody is sleeping and everybody is content, you definitely just want to leave it just the way that it's happening. That's number 1. Number 2, if you're the same Emily that's asking about are there any tips for transitioning your babies to their cribs, I am curious to know, where are they sleeping right now? Because if this was the previous Emily, their twins are 5 months old. So are you doing a co-sleeper? Are you doing a pack and play? How are those kitties sleeping? And if they are 2 separate Emilys, for that Emily that did ask about transitioning their babies, I'm curious to know where they're sleeping. So now if you're asking about getting them into their beds, there are some tips that you could get babies to sleep in their little beds. The first one is set an ideal kind of nighttime ritual, or really a bedtime ritual. It doesn't have to necessarily be a nighttime ritual because we need to have them sleep for naps as well. So what does your bedtime ritual look like? Does it look like we turn off the TV, we have some quiet time, we read a story, maybe we sing a gentle song, everybody goes into their rooms, we lower the shades, we put on the white noise. I'm getting tired even talking about this in this very relaxing, my husband's out cold, Shh, Fred's sleeping. Don't you love that Fred's on with me? Fred's my Fred's going to be my Michael Strahan of my show. It's me and Fred. That's when I start actually having a daytime TV show with my co-host Fred. Yay, thanks Fred. He's union though. And because he's union, he can't work many hours because he's a baby. But he will have a SAG card in no time. Alright, so anyway. So Fred, what we'll do is we'll put you in your crib. We'll give you a pacifier if you need one. Maybe put on a little bit of music. If you have one of those little things that go on the side of their crib, that is like the Fisher-Price makes one. It goes on the side. It plays some music. Some of them project some light onto the ceiling. Maybe we could push that. And then we basically say, babies, I love you. Sweet dreams, Fred. And you put Fred in drowsy but awake. The key is the drowsy but awake. All right, Julie asked questions. We have so many questions. So, okay, they're sleeping in rockin' plays. Now we're getting down to business. So, yeah, you got to get them out of their rockin' plays, and you have to put them in a crib. So this is the way that we're going to do it. And we're basically, do I want you to start all at once, or do I want you to start a little at a time? Maybe start a little at a time. If they're sleeping through the night in their cribs or in their rockin' plays, maybe start napping in cribs and seeing how that goes. My biggest concern about going from a rockin' play to a crib is the flatness of the crib, because the rockin' plays are on that little bit of an incline. So moving them to a flat surface might cause a tiny bit of change, but at the same time it might not. And we're not going to know until we do it. All right. So set the stage for sleep. Have a little bit of a nighttime ritual or bedtime ritual, nap time ritual, whatever. But the key is to be consistent. And Julie, if you could literally write that on the side, that consistency is the key. Not only to sleep, not only to sleep, but really with everything that you do when it comes to parenting. Whether it comes to the times that you do things, whether it's the method that you use, whether it's the words that you say. If you're going to be like, no dessert until you eat your vegetables, you actually have to go through and you have to be consistent and you have to say what you mean what you say, and do the same thing. Consistency is not only helpful for the kids, because then they'll kind of be able to predict what's going to happen next, but it's really, 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 really great for the parents, because you get to plan and you get to kind of know what, 7 steps are ahead of here, because you've consistently had a schedule to your day, or you've consistently played with the toy this way and then the kids learn it. It's just, consistency is key, trust me. But consistency is definitely key when it comes to setting up a nighttime ritual. Oh my gosh, we have so many questions. I love you guys so much. And I also want, if Julie could link you over to the Love to Dream Facebook page, I would love if you could just go over there and thank them for giving us this opportunity to spend this time together. And I really, really do mean this. And I do mean that you should go over there, because we want to do this more, and especially when it comes to sleep. We have so many times we get questions that have to do with sleep. And what we're trying to do is, I was just texting with our good friend Kim West this morning from this little book, and hopefully we will be able to set up some chats with her for the coming months, because I know she likes to come up here for the holidays. So hopefully we'll be able to grab her and we'll do some sleep talks just with her. And I also do want to let you know that we do have some videos with Kim that we are going to post very, very soon. So now Jen was saying use a sleep wedge. All right, so here's my issue with the sleep wedge. The sleep wedge is something you have to put it under the sheet, and so it's some money that you have to spend. But Jen, did you know that if you took Kim's book and my book combined and put it underneath the mattress and laid the mattress on top of it, that basically we created an incline for our babies? So if you're curious to know that an incline is going to help for your babies, before you run out and wait for the wedge to come, you may want to try something just as simple as putting some books under the mattress to raise the head section of the bed, and the babies may have a little relief then. All right, let's get to our next question. So Julia asks, recently one of my boys, 14 months, has been waking up between 1 and 2 a.m. Ugh, Fred, fix those kids. We've tried letting them cry it out, but that doesn't work. Also, he seems very disoriented when we get him. They share a room, so we can't really do a lot with him in there. Any tips? What would I do about that? So, first of all, that's not that weird. I mean, it's a little weird because he's getting up and he's disoriented, but it's not that strange. There could be reasons why. I really would love. I know that Kim has stuff about night terrors and night wakings, and I'm curious when that starts. I wish Fred could be my assistant and go flip through. But there are kids who wake up in the middle of the night and they are very disoriented. So if you're saying that, that's something that might need to be addressed. Another issue that happens with babies waking up in the middle of the night, and I'm not saying this to alarm anybody, but people would be surprised at how often sleep apnea is undiagnosed. You might want to actually speak to your pediatrician, Julia, and let them know that this is what's happening during the middle of the night. So that's number one, okay? Number two, when you do go in, if they're super disoriented, I would actually stay in there and I would just soothe them, but I would not take him out of the crib. I would just kind of hold him there and I would just keep your hand on his belly and I would just soothe him and say, it's okay, baby. It's all right, Fred. Don't worry about it. You know, everything's okay. Mommy's here. I love you. You got to get back to sleep. All right? So that's one. It does concern me that you did say that they are disoriented because I know that it's come up a few times when Kim and I were talking, and it happens. It happens because, you know, that disorientation could lead to sleepwalking, and sleepwalking, of course, is a lot of fun as we have a sleepwalker in my house. But she's not that bad, actually, right, babe? She's only a little sleepwalky. But it's funny. I mean, last night she was sleep talking. She told me, I don't remember what she told me, but she was calling. She's like, Mom, Mom, Mom. But clearly I knew that she was out cold. And she just wanted to tell me something. So now, immediately I know what works is I just tell her things like, I already took care of it. You don't have to worry about it. You could finish it in the morning. So I say things like that because typically the stressors from her day are coming out. And you think, like, what stress does an 11-year-old have? But I have to tell you, it's much different from the stress I had when I was 11 years old. So I would definitely soothe that child from 1 to 2, try as best as possible. Do you have the ideal sleep conditions? White noise, dark room, cool temperature. Are they in place? As far as them being in the same room, I wouldn't try to separate them. I would leave them together. But try just to soothe them until he goes back to sleep. I'm so sorry, but I definitely would speak to the pediatrician and make sure that he's physically, that everything is A-okay. Okay. So now, Alyssa asks, when do you swaddle the twins, before or after feeding them? I'm trying to get them in their crib during the night, but it's not working. But I do get 1 hour during the day. Any suggestions for nighttime crib? Also, should I give them pacifiers? You're a first-time mom. I was a first-time mom at one point, but then I had Fred. How old are your babies? That's what I want to know. So how old? Oh, you're welcome. How old are your babies? Because we're saying this, I tend to think that they are brand new, but I don't know. So when do you swaddle your babies? I would swaddle your babies before a feed, depending on how old they are. If they are super duper little and they are going to fall asleep in my arms directly after I give them the bottle, then I definitely want to have them swaddled ahead of time. If they're a little bit older, we may want to have the swaddling process be a part of our bedtime ritual, like I just said before. But if they're super teeny tiny, I would put their little swaddlers on before I fed them. So whether it was a breastfeeding feed or a bottle feeding feed, I definitely would I would put them on, give them their bottle, give them some boob time. And another good thing is with this swaddle, if you are breastfeeding, they could grip you, which is really nice. Whereas with the other swaddle, they can't hold on to you as much. So this is definitely a great swaddle, or I would recommend it to be a good swaddle for breastfeeding. All right, so we do have a lot more to talk about, and I wish that we had unlimited time. I really do wish that we had unlimited time, but there's some things that I want to tell you before we end this. So we already talked about allowing plenty of time before bed, okay? We did talk about being consistent and making sure that we had some kind of routine for bed. We did talk about that there is, did we talk about this? That there is no right schedule. There are just suggestions. So in both Kim's book and my book, and really any place online, you're going to find a lot of different suggestions of what a typical schedule is. It's a typical schedule. It may not necessarily be your schedule. Use it as a guideline, modify it as you see fit, but you definitely want to use it as a guideline, not like the law of the land. All right? Next thing is set the stage for sleep. Dark room, white noise, cool temperature. Next thing is, if your kids are having trouble staying asleep through the night, you actually want to try, or staying asleep through their naps, you might want to try putting their bedtime a little bit earlier. Sleep begets sleep. Weisbluth says it, West says it, Ferber says it. Every sleep professional in the universe says sleep begets sleep, and it's true. The more consistent you are with sleep, the more opportunities they have to sleep, the more they will actually sleep. If you notice that they're having trouble, like we were talking, like we were talking about before, if your kid is getting up between 1 to 2 a.m. or whatever, and you're finding that there's some regular patterns, keep a log. Keep a log not only of their sleep, but keep a log of what they're eating. Sometimes foods upset a little tummy, and maybe, you know what? Maybe sweet potatoes and Fred don't really get along as much as sweet potatoes and Anna get along. So you definitely want to keep a log, and if you're finding that there's too many coincidences or too many problems, bring the log to your pediatrician and say, hey, listen, this is what's going on in my house. Could you recommend anything? Now, the next thing is take your prematurity into consideration. I don't know why I'm holding up the number 3. A random number 3. Take prematurity into consideration, and remember that just because a sleep schedule says this is for a 7th-month baby, if your babies were born on the earlier side, you may not be able to use the 7th-month schedule, okay? The next one is always get your doctor's permission. If you were thinking about trying something new, or you're like, I'm going to change the sleep routine, or I'm going to drop a night feed, or I'm going to, add in more vegetables and less meat, whatever it is, make sure that you get your doctor's permission before making any big changes, okay? Now, I want to once again thank our friends at Love to Dream. Love to Dream is the safe swaddle, and they are also part and big advocates of First Candle. So do they have their little First Candle thing on here? Usually they do. Yes. But I would like you to know that if you want more tips on how to prevent SIDS or create a better sleep condition, you definitely want to check out First Candle. Hi, guys. Something is making me sneeze. Wow. Something really made me sneeze there. So you do want to check out First Candle. Julie could send you a link to First Candle, but they are an unbelievable nonprofit organization that goes above and beyond 100% of the time. Julie already linked you to their Facebook page, but we do want to tell you that when you are buying swaddles, remember that you should always buy any clothes, not just swaddlers, in sets of 3. Thank you, Josh. Look, everybody's saying God bless you. See, Fred, when you have friends that have nice manners, this is good. You're teaching me to teach Fred good lessons. This piece of hair is driving me crazy, guys. It just doesn't want to go back. So yeah, check out First Candle. And then I was just telling you, when you're buying swaddlers and you're buying clothing or socks or hats or whatever, you want to make sure that you think in sets of 3 per baby. So a minimum of 3 of these per child. So then you have 1 in use, 1 in wash, 1 in the backup. That's why we have sets of 3, because if we're using them for all times for sleep, sometimes they'll get some spit up on them, sometimes they'll get some poop or some pee on the back, and you do not want to run out of these little puppies. So yes, and also remember, they need to wear clothes underneath their swaddlers. People often say, do I just put the swaddle on with their diaper? You have to have a layer of clothing and then the swaddlers. And your children, under 3 months especially, should always have 1 additional layer of clothing than you would typically wear. So if it's super cold in your house and you have on an undershirt and a sweater over it, you may want to have an undershirt, a sweater, and then maybe put them in a swaddler, or maybe put them in. You're leaving, babe? Love you, babe. Have a good day. You just want to make sure that you have 1 extra layer of clothing. This particular company, Love to Dream, does make a swaddle light. Yes, right, correct. They make a winter warm and they make a summer light in addition to an organic one. So even if you have a warmer house, like let's say you keep your house super duper warm, then you might want to only buy the summer weight swaddlers, okay? All right, Fred and I have to go, right? We have more 20s to save and more things to do. And one last thing, we do have a wonderful amount of great gifts by our friends at Love to Dream. Julie is going to send you the links on how to be eligible to win. We have a great, great, great giveaway coming up this Friday. You do not want to miss it. And please make sure that you stay tuned to everything that is here on Twiniversity. Of course, on our Facebook page, on our Instagram page. And where else are we? Of course, our webpage, but we're going to be doing a lot of live video with our friends in Las Vegas. We're going to be checking out all the latest double strollers, all the new innovations in bouncy seats and carriers and pack and plays. And, oof, forget it. This is over 3 million square feet of exhibition space. I will be wearing comfortable shoes and drinking all my water and eating my Wheaties every day so that when I come home, I am as educated as possible on the latest and greatest new baby products for you. Not only baby products, but toddler products, school-age products, tips for mom, everything from a nursing bra to compression socks. That is what I am going to Vegas. I may or may not play some craps along the way, also known as definitely. I will be hanging out with Mr. and Mrs. Gizmo along with the team from Love to Dream and Britax and Baby Bjorn and all of our friends. We get to have one big giant party and be together, so you do not want to miss any of that. So guys, me and Fred want to say thank you for watching. Thank you to our friends at Love to Dream. Make sure you head over to their Facebook page and thank them for allowing us to have this time with us today. And I do promise you, we will do this again. And I am humbled by the fact that you guys always show up and that you're a part of our community. So thank you very, very much. Happy Wednesday. And I don't know if we say happy Yom Kippur, but I know it is Yom Kippur. So if anybody is celebrating, we are thinking of you today. And thank you for joining our feed and taking the time away from your family. See you later, alligators. And the next time you see me, I'll be in Vegas. Say bye, Fred. Bye, Fred.